Jeff Hayes, always good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's usually some other event that brings us together, but it's always a fun time running into you and hopefully learning from your expertise and wine at some point.
Yeah, well, I've got it.
I know you do. I give the menu to you when we're at dinner.
I have a rule when I go to dinner, and if it's with people that I don't know that well, if I'm not paying for the check, we're going to split the check. I always let it be known, listen, I'm paying for the wine. And because it used to, before I drank wine, it pissed me off to no end. Somebody'd sit down and start ordering these expensive bottles of wine. And it's like, dude, I'm not in for that.
Yep.
And now my theory is that life is too short to drink cheap wine. So I just kind of pull it off the table and say, hey, if everybody be comfortable with me ordering the wine, I'll pay for the wine. And then I don't have to sit through crap wine.
Be subjected to terrible wine. Yeah. Well, my palate's not totally there, but I spend enough time with people that are of that mind that my palate is developing. Yeah,
this is, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been out to dinner with Roland.
Yep.
Wow.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Roland, so there are a handful of people in my world. Roland is one, Tucker Max is one. Do you know Justin Donald?
I don't.
Justin's another one. He's a longtime friend. But it's like anything else in life. Like once you've developed a taste, you can't get rid of it. But if you haven't developed it, everything is fine.
Yeah, and that I would advise people to stay right there. It's and I may there's a snobbery to it. There's a culture around it. It's a lot of fun, but it's a waste of time and money. And underneath it, I eventually this year I had to confront the fact that I was also numbing some emotional pain by drinking wine, where I thought it was just a hobby. And so, stuff needs to be addressed at its cause.
Yeah.
So I may be not the wine guy here after a while.
I love that too. I think that one of the things I value most about people close in my life is their ability to reflect and change. And I think I have lots of friends that lean deeply in a direction and get passionate about a direction and committed and build identity around it. And many of them are reflective enough to recognize the moment where they think, oh wait, maybe this isn't serving me.
Yep.
And aren't afraid to change.
And it's not me. You move from identity, it's not me, and I'm pretty good. I've got some good coaches. I've got a hypnotherapist named Elliot Rowe that I work with, who's pretty good at calling BS on. And so uncovering these, do you know Larry Yatch?
Mm-mm.
Larry Yatch is a former Navy SEAL commander, but he says that the biggest limiting factor on an entrepreneurial-owned business is the childhood trauma of the owner. And that's proven to be true. There's and us that are entrepreneurial, there's usually some childhood trauma that causes us to become entrepreneurs and then recreate some of the same problems in our business life that we had in our growing up. And so going after those and then being free from being driven to drive businesses off a cliff, that's been one of my great advances of the last decade.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that we unconsciously reproduce our own problems?
Yeah, this is what we're here for. The old line, we're all just walking each other home. This is, we're just figuring this crap out.
Yep. Yeah, well, I certainly had a reflective moment yesterday around much of that, where I was on the plane. I had a few drinks, and I'm sitting on the plane on the way here, and I would just gotten this stream of consciousness writing, and it was a couple pages of just dumping, writing. And I hadn't done that in a while, but it was this completely open, non-judgmental, reflective space of things that objectively I look at them and I think, well, it's very clear that behavior doesn't serve me. Right. But it took me not being judgmental about myself and my own behavior and being open to get it out. to actually really look at it and say, okay.
Well, and also he said, and a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
So I find that I really got in touch with my emotions once I started drinking, and now I'm carrying that outside of being able to not have to numb my frontal cortex to be able to be honest with myself. But, you know, it's a good start.
Yes. And an entertaining one for sure.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk to you here because you have a super fascinating business model. I don't know how you self-identify, but the way that I've always seen you is as a creative filmmaker. And you've shot a tremendous number of documentaries, amongst other things. But the way that you monetize them is also super fascinating to me. And it's been interesting to watch over the last several years. Can you give a little backdrop on the creative side and the company? And
yeah, this is, you know, there's nobody waiting in line for the next Jeff Hayes film. It's like, you know, I had to create the market where I can do what I love to do. So I'm a filmmaker. I've been shortlisted for an Academy Award. My credentials are good as a filmmaker, but that doesn't translate into income. And so when I gather with other filmmakers, I remember being at a dinner table in Sundance with 6 friends. I was the only person at the table that hadn't either won or been nominated for an Academy Award. But the conversation at the table was, geez, Jeff, how are you making money when none of us are? You know, I bought the rights to a book, Chasing the Scream by Johann Hari, a New York Times bestseller a few years ago, developed the project, made a docuseries out of it, and we sold it to Jeffrey Katzenberg's company, Quibi, before it shut down. And they paid $2.2 million for us to produce 8 8-minute episodes, so 64 minutes of content.
Wow. For
$2.2 million. But the producer's part, my part of that, was a couple of $100,000, and it took 2 years to do. So, you know, it's not a lucrative business in that traditional world. So it started with a documentary I did called Bought, and I spent $750,000 making it. We released it online on a platform that they had a couple of thousand affiliates that were going to drive traffic to it. Sold it for $4.99. I gave them an exclusive $4.99 to view it. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
And I gave them exclusive for 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, we made $60,000 on a $750,000 investment. And so I sat back and waited for 3 months, and then I released it for free. And I put it on a platform, did it in a Jeff Walker style launch. It was up for 10 days. And in that 10 days, we had 260,000 people register with their email to see it. We sold $250,000 worth of people paying for what they just watched for free. So
bizarre.
4 to 5 times as much money as when I was trying to sell it. But this was in 2014. That email list of $250,000 has made me millions since then.
$250,000
marketing, you know, to that list.
Yeah.
And so that gave us a hint. So we started doing docuseries.
Hold on. So I have a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
So you sold it for $5. You made $60,000.
Right.
3 months later, you did the Jeff Walker style launch. For those that don't know, is a concerted effort to do a product launch in a short period of time.
Right. Limited, create scarcity because it's only out there for a brief period of time.
Yeah. But it was free.
Correct.
So how did you monetize from there?
So on the page that people were watching it on, they had the opportunity to buy it for $19.95 for the DVD or $9.95 for digital. And enough people bought that we made $250,000 in 10 days, giving it away for free.
It's amazing.
And I love that. So the paradox is the more we give away, the more money we make. And so taking that model in a docuseries, now I'll give away 20 hours of content. And so we'll run a docuseries. You can sign up to see it for free. and we'll do topics on health or wealth or controversial topics, and build a tribe. Affiliates send traffic. They're all tagged to, so if you mailed for it, hey, you may want to go watch this series, Wine Revealed. It's free. And you don't ever sell anything. You just invite your list to see it. And then those people are tagged to you. And about 5% of the people who watch our docuseries want to own it and buy it. So our price points are from $79 to $279, because now it's way more content than just a documentary. Our average order is $200, and we'll do millions of dollars on a launch in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you mentioned affiliates. Were affiliates, were other people driving their audience to watch the docuseries? Was that part of the original launch too?
Yes.
Has that always been the model?
Yeah. So, and the difference is in a documentary, if I'm selling a documentary for $19 and I'm giving the affiliate half the money, I can pay them $10. But in a docuseries, I've got way more money to reward my affiliates. And so, like in the month of December, I paid affiliates on one launch $1.5 million. So the price point is not really so we can make more money. It's to have more fuel, so affiliates are more interested in mailing for it. So here's something they send traffic to. Hey, go watch this free series, but they're tagged to them, and they get half of the income for people that subscribe, that pay for it.
How do you find the affiliates? At this point, I imagine you just know them, have them.
It is everybody that wants to get in, there's some hurdles to getting into this game. One is it's expensive to produce what we produce. But the bigger issue is having affiliates. And so now my email list is considerable. And so we are able to mail for other affiliates and market their products. So now people are approaching us because the impact that we can have on their business. And so it's kind of like, don't get in the water till you learn how to swim. You can't really be successful at getting affiliates until you're a good affiliate for other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's the affiliates are the driver? That's a flywheel to some extent, right? As you get more, and as you mail, and as you prove concept, and as you know the numbers, you have the capacity to refine your USP for the affiliates, right? And say, hey, we can tell you that 5% are going to convert. All you need to do is share this content. It's probably relevant to your audience anyway.
Right.
Is the monetization purely from the price point of those people that want to own the video? Yeah.
So on the front end, like I had a series that we launched in December a few months ago, and that one we had 360,000 people sign up to see it.
Crazy.
It did 4.6 million in sales in that 3-week period. So we were profitable on the front end, but now I have a 360,000 name email list from that. And that, by selling other people's products that are relevant to that list, now that has a long tail that's way more valuable than the initial 4.6 million.
Got it.
And so your example of a flywheel is right, is we've built enough momentum that now we can do this on a bigger scale. But it can be done small. People,